Hey everyone, this is the Somber Teacup Chronicles. I know it's been a while since I've released a video, and I just wanted to say that some things are in the works. I got some new equipment for recording, so my voice sounds a little bit better. I've also been practicing, so I can make this experience a little bit more professional. Needless to say that I'm pretty excited about what's to come. This episode was originally supposed to air on St. Patrick's Day, but there were some complications. I also wanted to create a new thumbnail for this little spin-off episode that I was working on. Thanks again for listening in, and sit back and enjoy the show. Somber Teacup Chronicles presents Arcane Academia. I love dogs. It's true, I love dogs. My family owns a dog, my friends had dogs, and I knew a neighbor that had a dog. I'm telling you this so that you know what I'm about to say is not some paranoid ramblings or some sort of undiagnosed phobia. I have no issue with dogs. Well, that used to be true. I am a bit unsure of that now. To be honest, I don't think I can look at another dog with black fur in the eyes ever again. I guess I should explain a couple things. I work at an animal shelter. It started as a collaboration with one of the college organizations I was a part of. I loved working with the animals and making sure that they all left in better hands. It was hard sometimes seeing an animal so mistreated and abused to near death. I always wanted to see what kind of person could possibly do something like that to such a pure and innocent creature. I guess that's why I loved animals so much. They're pure. Good to a fault, I guess. Well, Chihuahuas might be a different case. I mean, just try petting one or rubbing its belly. They're like little balls of fury on four legs. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked. What happened at St. Arnold's rescue home was not exactly a fond memory for me. I'm sure you read the news about our little rescue home in the papers recently. About our, notorious black dog. That's why you brought me here, right? So you can type down my experience and hide it away amongst the moldy books that line your walls. I guess there's no putting this off much longer. It was a very strange day when she arrived. She was found wandering the roads late at night. It was a rainy day. One of my coworkers found her sleeping behind the dumpster. Her fur was matted with something slick and wet. They put her in one of the cages that we had vacant that afternoon. A lovely family adopted one of our pit bulls. I'm sure they're taking good care of Baxter. He's always been such a sweetheart. You know, bouncing around, fun to play with. You know, one of the good ones. Our new resident seemed well-mannered enough. My first impression was that she was a runaway. Angie thought it would be a good idea to put up posters of the dog. And that's what we did. I'd never spent too much time with her, just gave her some fresh food and water. She always had her back turned to me and was looking down. She never tried to play with any of the other dogs or tried to get anyone's attention. She just stood there. I did try to get her attention once, but she seemed disinterested. You know, I don't really recall seeing her face. I guess I was one of the lucky ones. We felt that our new resident deserved a name. You know, something cute, try and get her adopted if the Flyers were a dead end. I mean, she was with us for a week and no one ever called or came for her. So we just treated her like she was in the need for a new home. Second chance. We came together and decided on a name for her. David came up with the name Angel. We did not expect it to stick, but whenever we saw her, it was the first name that popped into our heads. I tried calling her something different once, but the name that came out was her new one, Angel. Our little angel. She was adopted by an elderly couple the following week. They wanted an older dog who was well behaved and quiet. I don't know why, but I suggested Angel. I really do regret it. I do. Her name poured out of my mouth like cold air spilling out of a freezer in the summer heat. I remember very little. I remember opening her cage. I remember holding her leash. But I don't remember attaching it to her collar or if she ever had one. I don't remember standing out and waving to her as they drove away from our building, or the slick feeling of her matted fur that smelled like iron. Angie did. She grabbed my shoulder and asked me why I was outside and why I was repeating the phrase, "Our little angel is coming home," over and over. I looked at her dumbfounded, and she brought me inside to sit and relax. She thought this might be a sign of dementia. The thing is, it doesn't run in my family at all. This scared me, and I did a follow-up the following day with my doctor. She gave me a clean bill of health. I went back to work the day after that and saw that Angel was back in her cage. She was facing away from me, and I asked Angie, confused, why she was there. I asked if the old couple had brought her back. She just looked at me, pale as a sheet. She told me that there was a fire last night, and they didn't make it. The police said that the dog was the only one left alive, so they brought her back here. I felt a cold chill through me. I looked at her, worried, and hugged her. I don't know if it was to comfort me or her. That began our long line of mysterious deaths. Sometimes it was the owners, sometimes there were dogs in our care, other times it was the staff. Every single time we sent her out with a new family, she would come back within a week. Last time Angel was adopted, Angie was staring blankly, repeating the phrase, "Our little angel is coming home." The week before that, it was Mark. Then before that, it was me. And then David. Each of us had sent her away at some point. Sometimes when we were all busy, one of the customers would do it. Tend to be the staff, fill out the paperwork and act as nothing happened. They just said the same phrase over and over again. "Our little angel is coming home." Our first death was Jeremy. He was old and had a nasty cough for a while, but other than that, there was nothing wrong with him, but we found him. He was freaking out and running through the halls with a stapler shouting something. We chased him and saw he was running to Angel's cage, shouting something. He kept going on about her eyes and how they were all wrong. kept saying, "Dear God, they're all wrong." He said that they're too big to fit in her skull, that they take up most of her head, with big red eyes staring at him. He was crying and coughing. He opened up the cage and tried to hit her with the stapler, and that is when we grabbed him, pulled him away. He called the police and told them what had happened. He was brought to the hospital. He never made it back. He died in that car ride on the way there. Natural causes, they told us. But we just knew different. One day, someone came to the animal shelter. I knew immediately that something was off about him. He said that he had a flyer. I was surprised and a little confused. Then he pulled out a little yellow flyer of Angel. I had almost forgotten we had even put those up. It was just over a little bit of a month ago. I thought that rain had destroyed them all. I nodded quietly, and with Angie, we walked back to her cage. We unlocked it, and Angel walked out, but she wouldn't even acknowledge us. She just looked away, and I couldn't see her face. She followed the stranger, dressed in a wet trench coat. He had a black bowler hat on and had the cane with the head of a goat that was made of silver. He had a small mustache, but no hair on his head. He looked young, but like his clothing was old and there were holes all over it. He said one last thing before he left. "Angel seems to be a little attached to you. She seemed to have a lot of fun. Maybe we could come back and visit sometime." I mean, how creepy was that? I'm not proud of what I said, but I couldn't contain my fear of or hatred for this man or his dog anymore. I slammed the door in their face and never saw him again. We had no more issues after that, but we did develop one new rule at St. Arnold's Animal Shelter. We no longer take in any dogs with black fur. Sometimes at night, I think I can see Angel's face. I have no idea if it's my brain trying to piece together what Jeremy's words were, but her eyes are big, they're red, and they're far too big to fit in her skull.